Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV, Central Kentucky TV. It's Kenny Fogle. I'm glad you could join us again this evening. We always have something entertaining, educational, informative. Whatever you'd like to see, we do our best to bring it to you throughout Central Kentucky. And today I've got with me a good friend of mine, Mr. Eddie Miles. Eddie, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kenny. Hello, everybody.
And Eddie's taking a little hiatus off for a little while and for a few little health problems, and got all those pretty much solved now, and you're making a return.
I'm not sure I'd call it a return. I've had some trouble with my feet.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're doing the kind of show that I've been doing for the past 20 plus years,
stand up every now and then.
It involves dancing and you know, because I still do. I've been known for the Salute to Elvis show. I call it now a Salute to Elvis and Country Legends because I do a two-part show. The first half of the show is like Country Legends, and then the second half is dedicated to Elvis. Of course, I still wear the sideburns and the costumes and the high-heeled boots. And as you get older, the high-heeled boots are not as comfortable as they were when you were 20 or 30. So yeah, it's slowed down the last year or so, but I've got some. I've been working with some doctors and got some relief, so I'm starting to book a few more shows, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on and talk about. I don't get to do a lot of shows around here. It seems like every time it's a road show somewhere, we go to Myrtle Beach like once a month and go down and do a show at the Alabama Theater, and we were just recently up in Clarksville, Indiana, at the Derby Dinner Playhouse. Had I think I did 3 nights. Yeah, 3 nights, and they were all sold out. So I do that once a year, but any other time I'm not around that much. So I want to come on and tell the people about. I'm going to be in Elizabethtown, over in E-Town, at the end of May the 30th on a Saturday night. We'll be at the State Theater, downtown E-Town. There, they renovated and did a beautiful job with that theater.
I've been in there several years.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great facility. Yeah. I've been there 3 or 4 times. So. Be there on a Saturday night, but the Friday night before probably won't affect anybody, the listeners, but we're going to be down in Powderly, Kentucky.
Never heard of it.
Most people haven't. It's funny about those small towns.
Yeah.
People come out to shows there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I go to Louisville and try to do a show, or a big city, it's too much going on. But you go to a little small town where there's nothing going on, a show.
Now, what traffic light do I have to turn when I get to Powderly?
I'm not sure if they have a traffic light. Actually, it's close to Central City. It was kind of the Everly Brothers stomping ground.
Okay, I know where that's at.
And a very famous entertainer is from Powderly, and they built a theater down there in honor of him, Merle Travis. He did the song 16 Tons, What Do You Get?
Merle.
And it's called the Merle Travis Music Center.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful little place, seats like 450 people. And it's just out in the middle, kind of nowhere. And I wish they had something like that around here in Nelson County. It's a beautiful facility. Got, a motorized curtain and stuff that you don't see in a lot of facilities. Yeah. So I'll be there on Friday night, May the 29th, and then up in E-Town on May the 30th. So anybody that's out there listening, if you'd like to know more about my shows and where I'm going to be, my website's the best place. Just go to eddiemiles.com. If you can spell my name, you can find me on the internet there. So, and then in June I'll be a lot closer in Lebanon. I did several shows there last year. They've got a beautiful facility over there called Center Square in Lebanon, and they took the old Lebanon High School and they made it into an entertainment arts center, and they renovated that. And it's called Angelic Hall, and it's a nice little room. It seats about, I think, 350. But I'll be there 2 nights in June. The last weekend of June, I'll be there Friday night and Saturday night. So those are the closest shows that I wanted to tell people about, and hopefully they'll come out. It's always a funny thing, you know. If I go out on the road, like I mentioned, a small town, I can go to like Beaufort, South Carolina. Be a little small town, maybe the size of Bardstown or smaller. You know, not get 800 to 1,000 people to come out to a theater there. But being right here at home.
Something about hometown. I know that hometown people, hey, yeah, I know that guy, I grew up with him or something like that. When you come somewhere else, it seems like it's something special. But yeah, if you got the talent, people in your own hometown, it's the hardest people to impress.
Really. But I'm not complaining too much. I mean, I've played.
Hey, show up to the show.
I played the amphitheater here in town several times and always had good turnouts.
Yeah, the sellout there, the amphitheater. I remember the first time we were down there because it shocked everybody because everybody kept saying we need to get somebody. I said, just have just the guy. Yeah, but he's local. He won't draw anybody. Standing room only down there that night. I can remember that
several years back. And then the Creso Theater up there, they've got the old Arco Theater, and I've been there a couple of times and always had a full house. So I can't complain about hometown people. I'm just making the comment that you go to a small town anywhere else where they've never heard of you. And usually, if you put we're doing a salute to Elvis because Elvis, big.
Well, still a lot of Elvis fans out there, and like you said, when you're talking about Elvis, obviously that brings in a big crowd. But you also talk about the other. I know you do Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard. Who is the rest of them?
The opening show is just like my music heroes. I grew up like a lot of people in this area, and grew up listening to Hank Williams, and I'll do one of his now and then. But the big legends like George Jones, Merle Haggard, Conway Twitty, Johnny Cash, I touch on just about every one of them in my first show. I do like a 45-minute first set, and then there's an intermission, then come back and do like an hour dedicated to Elvis in the second half. So, but yeah, I touch on a lot of people. Sometimes I've thrown a Beatle tune in there now and then the first half.
Yeah, most Elvis fans are Beatle fans. I mean,
I even do a CCR tune in the first show. But the thing about it is, and the thing that's great about doing the Elvis show is no two shows are ever alike because there's so much material.
Yeah.
And I do a couple of hundred of Elvis's songs, so I can pick from them each night and do a different show. So anybody that's seen my show really hasn't seen the entire show unless they come a lot, and I do have a lot of fans that'll come time after time, so I'm thankful for that.
But I know one thing is that it did impress me a lot. You do have a lot of followers. I think from Oklahoma, a place. I think one time I was at a show and this whole group come in from Oklahoma, and I said, "My goodness, where'd all these people coming from?" So again, that's the kind of people you impress them somewhere, so you got to be doing something right.
Well, I've spent my years of my life out on the road. And we've done shows all over the South and the Midwest and here around Kentucky and Ohio. So if people within driving distance, they'll usually they'll come to the show. And I have had people, even when I did the shows in Lebanon, I think it was if it was September. It was one of the shows I did last year in Lebanon, and we had several carloads come up from North Carolina.
Yeah.
To the show, and they got to come up and see.
It's a tourism attraction, so that's a good thing too.
A lot of people come to Kentucky that wouldn't have come otherwise, so that kind of makes me feel good. I can get people to come up and experience this area here. So.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here right now. Elvis has hundreds of songs, and like I said, you do hundreds of songs of other people. Is there any one favorite song you like to do? I know people are yelling out of the crowd, "Oh, do Conway or do this," but is there one or two favorite songs that you just absolutely love to do?
Gosh, I've done it so long, I can't say I love to do any of them.
Don't say it's become a job.
No, I still enjoy it. If I get a reaction out of the crowd and they're enjoying it, then I've done my job. And it makes me feel good. And everybody likes that instant pat on the back with applause and yay. But as far as picking one Elvis song, no. But everybody has their favorite. All those people millions of people that grew up listening to Elvis. Yeah. And of all those songs, they'll have their favorites and they'll yell them out, and I can usually do them. Some that come to mind that people yell out are "My Way," "Jailhouse Rock." They'll always, and somebody'll always yell out "Hound Dog." Probably one of the worst songs he ever did. Just kind of but the kids, even you see 5- and 6-year-old kids want to hear "Hound Dog," and they weren't even around. Elvis been gone 20 years before they came along. We were doing a show somewhere, and some lady, she had a real thick, I think it was New Jersey accent. She was like, "Do Hound Dog, do Hound Dog," and I just remember stopping and saying, "You're not from around here, are you?" But I ended up doing the song for her. But no, I couldn't pick a favorite. Kentucky Rain's always been a favorite of mine, maybe because it's Kentucky.
And it's raining.
And it's raining outside. We got plenty of Kentucky Rain now, but it was written by an artist that I always admired. Eddie Rabbitt wrote that. Several hits. So that one comes to mind as a favorite. If I had to pick one, and you was holding a gun to my head, I'd say Kentucky Rain.
Well, and before I may get you to play something here in a minute or so, but before we do, is one thing you touched on just a second ago that it sort of stuck with me because I know a lot of artists have mentioned this. is if they're playing for a very energetic crowd or a crowd that's really actively getting into the show, it plays off on you. But if you play in front of a crowd that's just pretty much dead, your show is going to suffer.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, I've been doing it long enough. I've experienced it all. I've walked in a room where I thought, man, this crowd's just going to be horrible. I'll see them, and they'll be one of the liveliest crowds you ever heard, blow the roof off of it. And then it'll surprise you in the other direction. You think, man, it's going to be a good lively crowd. Then they sit there on their hands like it's funny because you never know. It's like Forrest Gump and the box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get when you go to a room. And I played the Alabama Theater, gosh, probably 100 times down in Myrtle Beach, and it's one of the grand places of the South. I'm always I'm just always pleased to be there because that's where all the stars come to.
Yeah. I've
got pictures of when they had the old billboard when George Jones was living. It had Saturday night George Jones, Sunday 80 miles. I got a picture of it because I was playing the same place that George Jones did. And I can go in there, and sometimes that room would just be electric and be people just applauding. They can't get enough of it. And other times it's like pulling teeth to get them to get a reaction out of it. So
yeah,
it's not nothing. There's no guarantee.
Yeah, well, I know you used to bring teddy bears to you all the time because you had at one time. I think I went in your garage. You had a collection of teddy bears. There was so many of them there you couldn't get in the garage.
Yeah, that thing started with Elvis and his song "Teddy Bear" back in the '50s. And they would bring teddy bears to him. So that became associated with Elvis, and people brought them to me, and I ended up, sometime 500 of those things in a run of a year. So at one time when I was in my own theater down in Pigeon Forge and in Myrtle Beach, we would just line the walls with those teddy bears, kind of a decoration. And then we just got so many, we just started making donations and giving them to usually to fire departments and police departments so they could have them to give to underprivileged children or to use them if it was in a situation where there was a child and like a house fire or something, give them something to comfort them. And I've done that for, 20 years. In fact, this year, for some reason, I couldn't get out to the police departments and get them, so I've got.
Well, I remember you getting the police departments, Red Cross, and everybody else.
I probably got 150 in the garage that I'll have to use for next year. But it's amazing the people who bring them. Those stuffed animals. And
my favorite song you always did is a Conway Twitty song, "Make Believe." I think is probably my favorite song of every one of them. And I just trying to think.
Even over Elvis, huh?
Even over Elvis, yeah.
Well, that's a big song, and when I do the Conway in the first half, that'll be one they'll always ask. They'll ask for "Hello, Darling," and it's only "Make Believe." And the funny thing about "Only Make Believe," when that song came out, everybody thought it was Elvis because it had that sound.
Exactly.
And that became his biggest hit record of his entire life. Even all those number ones in country music that came years later, that one he did in the 50s was his biggest selling song.
Well, I love Elvis, but I even like Willie Nelson's version of the one he does. I can't think what it is.
You were always on my mind.
Exactly. I love Willie Nelson's version of that better.
Better than Elvis's?
So that's bad to say. But
Elvis did the first version, maybe the only one that I know of. He did the first one and had a decent hit with it, and then Willie come along, several years after Elvis died and recorded it, and everybody thought, that weren't Elvis fans thought that was Willie's new
Willie got a good one. Well, go ahead and see if you got
Willie,
something you want to play for us today.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't.
Just give a little sample of what somebody might see if they come to your show.
In case anybody's never heard of me.
And there are younger people out there that maybe that's just coming along just now, maybe just getting introduced to Elvis or some of the old legends.
One of the things I found out is these grandmothers that come to the show, because Elvis would have been what this year? I forgot.
About 80 somewhere.
Was it 80? Yeah, it was his 80th birthday this year. And those grandmothers that grew up watching him, of course now they're in their 70s, but Elvis is 10 years older now. They bring their grandchildren. And those grandchildren come up and get autographs and everything, and it's like the generations are passing down their love of Elvis and his music.
Well, I had a lady tell me just about a year or so ago, we were talking, and she said something about her granddaughter was listening to Elvis, thinking, my goodness, this guy's wonderful. But she never knew that he passed away 20 years ago. She thought he was a new, recent artist.
He's got that mass appeal, and even the young people that have never heard of him or never saw him will hear those records go,
well, maybe it's time we reintroduce him a little bit here.
Well, he's been introduced many times over, but I didn't have anything really prepared. I brought the guitar in case something.
Oh, it's a good prop, but play something.
Let me see, just something easy to do on the guitar. I'll just do a little bit of one and then end it up with a little bit of another.
There, sound like a winner.
So just give a little sample
There
here.
you go.
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. You know what can be found, sit home all alone. You can come around, at least please telephone. And don't be cruel to heart is true. And I want no other love, baby, it's still you love. You know, don't be cruel to heart is true. Don't be cruel to heart is true. Don't want no other love, baby, it's still you love. You know.
All right. So May 30th over at the State Theater in E-Town. Going to be at June 26th and 27th in Lebanon. www.eddiemiles.com. I guess it'll tell you how to get tickets if somebody wants to figure out how to get tickets.
Yeah, that's the best way to find out where I'm going to be, and the ticket information is all on there, and it's easy, just Eddie Miles with no spaces in it, and it'll bring you right to my website. And
Okay.
show the schedule. There's also information on there if you would like to order a CD or what else? Lots of pictures, a few sound bites, things like that. So
go to the website, then go to the show. So Eddie, appreciate you being here, and we look forward to back in the business here now.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks.
Kenny.
All right. Well, you stick around. We've got a lot more to come on Central Kentucky TV. Got more, and you're coming your way. Be right back.